What's up, guys? Coach Sarge here with my buddy Coach Matt, body transformation experts at Fit Body Bootcamp in Exton, with another Matt and Matt Makes Sense.
If you guys are struggling to lose body fat, please pay attention closely because this simple but proven method is the key to unlocking fat loss success for everybody.
Today, we got a question from Karen about fat loss during our workouts. The question is, isn't it important to burn fat during your workout? Now, Karen has a Fitbit, and she was noticing that during her workout, she wasn't in the fat burning zone.
So just like everything else, Karen, what I would say is that, I think Fitbits are decent tools to gauge and to give us a little bit of an idea of where we are and what's going on. However, I wouldn't rely on what they consider a fat burning zone just because we know how different those types of pieces of equipment read per person and all different types of things like that. So I wouldn't really rely on it too much and be overly concerned that it's not in a fat burning zone. Now, in your case, Karen, in all of our cases, we don't necessarily want to see fat loss during our workout, right? And during is the big key here, because obviously we're all trying to burn fat, lose fat, get in better shape and get toned, but you don't really want to be burning fat during the workout. And again, I'm going to go into more detail and explain why with like a really simple to understand diagram. But first, I just want to ask you a question. Do you want to burn fat for an hour? Or do you want to burn fat for 30 hours or 48 hours? I think the answer to that question is relatively simple, obviously, and I want you guys to realize that the ticket to maximizing fat loss isn't burning fat during your workout, but it is triggering what's called the afterburn effect. All right, that's why we do high intensity interval training, so we can trigger EPOC, which is excessive post-exercise oxygen consumption, or excess post-exercise oxygen consumption, but essentially it is the afterburn effect.
One of the biggest mistakes that people make about exercise is assuming that it's time dependent, when in reality, to maximize your fat loss, you have to focus on intensity, not time.
Okay guys, so what I want to do here is just draw a quick diagram that explains why we don't necessarily want to see fat loss during our workouts, okay? So if you can see the board here, I know it's kind of a little tough to see, but if you can see the board, I have a line. Now that line indicates or represents, I should say, a baseline of energy. All right, now fat storage and glycogen storage are two different energy stores that our body can access when we require our body to move. Okay, so when we're putting our body in a situation that requires movement or exercise in any way, our body has to generate energy from somewhere. Humans can't just generate energy on our own, so we need to access those storage systems in our body. All right, and the two of the ones that we have here are glycogen and fat. Now again, we are talking about fat loss. So what most people assume is that you want to be burning fat during exercise. But again, that's really not true. And the reason why is because fat is a really poor fuel source for the body. So our body doesn't want to utilize it. If we're doing really intense exercise or we're putting our bodies in a situation where we're requiring our body to do something extraordinary, our body is not going to operate well when it comes to running on fat, okay? So if you are accessing fat stores, what that means is it's essentially a pretty easy exercise, or we're not really requiring much of our body, okay? So for instance, if you do any type of steady state training, so you hop on a treadmill, you lift a couple weights, you do standard exercise without a whole lot of intensity, but you focus more on the duration of time, all right, you're gonna access some fat, all right? So what this might look like is if, again, you hop on the treadmill, let's just say you start running for about an hour, all right? You start burning some fat for energy. all right, and it looks something like this. You know, you're continuing to burn fat, all right, you're closing up on an hour, all right, so your energy goes back to that baseline, okay? Now again, even though you're burning fat throughout that entire workout, right, which sounds awesome, again, what would you rather? Would you rather burn fat for 1 hour, or would you rather burn fat for 24 to 30 to 48 hours, okay? It kind of doesn't really even make sense to say 1 hour, okay? So even though on the face of this, that looks good, what I'm trying to get to the point across to you guys is that we have to avoid low intensity, long duration exercise, because again, that's not very, it doesn't put a lot of metabolic stress on the body, okay? So everything that we do here at boot camp, we do high intensity interval training, right? Now, the only way you are gonna be able to force your body into those types of movements, explosive lifts, and just hard work in a short period of time, right? You're gonna have to use your glycogen stores, okay? Now, because again, you're doing a short term or a short duration exercise now, so instead of working out for an hour, you know, we might only work out for 30 minutes or so, okay? So you're gonna hit it hard for 20 to 30 minutes. You're gonna burn a whole lot of glycogen, all right, which essentially is sugar and carbs and the foods that we eat. All right, so the metabolic effect, because the exercise, again, is much more intense, right, is gonna be much greater. So you're gonna get a huge spike, right, by using these glycogen stores, right? And then instead of burning fat for only about an hour or so, right, you're not gonna burn much fat at all during that workout. However, post-exercise, right, you're gonna create what's called a metabolic deficit, right? So because you pushed your body so incredibly hard, right, over that 20 to 30 minute period, right, you created now a metabolic deficit. So when the exercise is over, when you're done, your glycogen stores are depleted, your body has to dip into the fat stores to start to replenish, right, those glycogen stores and start recovering, right? And again, you're gonna burn a whole heck of a lot of fat over the next, right, 24 to 30 hours, right, 40 hours even if you really push it. So again, I know on the face of it, it sounds great that we're burning fat during our workout, but again, this is everything here, guys. We wanna hit it hard, and I don't care if you even burn 1 ounce of fat during exercise, because everything is about the post-workout fat burn, which is the afterburn effect, okay? So what my point is, guys, that is intensity, I spelled that wrong, intensity is directly correlated to fat loss. All right, so if you hit it hard and you really push your body, right, you're not gonna burn a whole lot of fat during the workout, but post-workout, right, you will burn much more fat. All right, everybody, I hope that makes sense. As you guys know, I tend to ramble, so if you have any questions about what we just went over, obviously you can ask me on Facebook, comment on the YouTube channel here, but just find a way to get in front of me. That way I can explain a little bit further and help you understand exactly what we're trying to accomplish here. So in closing, for Karen and anybody else who had this question or has been thinking about this, I absolutely do not care one bit if you guys burn an ounce of fat during your workout. What you guys need to do is get really good at pushing your body to a point of almost failure every single workout, completely deplete your glycogen stores, right? And I guarantee you, by creating that massive metabolic deficit, you will burn more fat over the next 20 to 30 to 40 hours than you ever would by doing standard or more traditional cardio, which does give you that fat loss effect during the workout. Again, you have to look at the return on investment. That is why we here at Fit Body Bootcamp only do high intensity interval training, because it is the most studied and proven method for maximum fat loss in the littlest amount of time, right? Now, I'm not saying it doesn't take effort, right? These workouts are incredibly difficult, and again, you have to get really good at pushing your body to a place where you're almost uncomfortable every single day. But again, by doing that, you will create a bigger metabolic effect, a metabolic deficit, right? And you will in turn burn way more fat than ever before. All right, guys, so that was a great question from Karen. And if you guys have any other questions about fitness, fat loss, nutrition, whatever it may be, all right, you guys know who to ask.
Remember to smash that thumbs up button, guys, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And remember to be unstoppable.